the moment respect quietly disappears. Most men never realize the exact moment they lose respect. There is no argument. No confrontation. No clear warning. One day, people simply stop listening. Your words carry less weight. Your presence feels smaller. Your boundaries are tested and ignored. Not because you became weak overnight, but because, somewhere along the way, you abandoned yourself. Respect does not vanish suddenly. It erodes, silently. Through small compromises you justified as love, kindness, or patience. This video is not here to comfort you. It is here to wake you up. Because once a man understands why respect disappears, he can never be manipulated by approval again. And the moment you stop needing validation, the world begins to treat you differently. Watch closely. What you are about to hear will either offend you or change you. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where every story and lesson about love will help you find the answer. Today, we will explore a new perspective through the topic, mistakes that cause men to lose respect. These are real-life experiences and profound lessons that will change the way you perceive love. Follow me, because the most surprising and interesting things are still waiting for you ahead. Before starting, find a quiet place, put on your headphones and relax your mind. Let the sharing in this video help you feel more fully and enjoy every meaningful moment. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's begin. Part 1. The silent collapse, when a man forgets his inner frame. There is a moment most men never notice. It doesn't arrive with a loud argument. It doesn't come with a breakup text. It doesn't announce itself with humiliation. It arrives quietly, the moment people stop respecting you. Not because you became weak overnight, but because, slowly, you forgot who you were supposed to be. As a man who has lived long enough to lose respect, and earn it back, I can tell you this. Respect is not something others give you. It is something your behavior forces them to acknowledge. And the first mistake that destroys it is this. Mistake number 1, losing your inner frame. A man without a frame is a man without gravity. Your frame is your internal compass. Your values. Your standards. Your emotional stability. Your ability to remain centered regardless of external chaos. When you lose it, everything else collapses. Most men think respect is about dominance, money, looks, or confidence tricks. They are wrong. Respect begins with self-alignment. Let me explain. When you start living for approval, the moment a man begins adjusting his behavior to avoid disapproval, he starts bleeding respect. You see it everywhere. He changes opinions to keep the peace. He laughs at jokes he doesn't find funny. He apologizes for things that don't require apology. He suppresses his truth to avoid conflict. At first, it feels like maturity. Like emotional intelligence. Like being understanding. But underneath, it is fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of being disliked. Fear of losing someone. From a Stoic perspective, this is slavery. Marcus Aurelius warned us. If you seek tranquility, do less. Or do what's essential. What he meant was simple. A man who allows external validation to dictate his internal state will never be free, and never respected. People don't respect men who bend to be accepted. They respect men who stand firm and let others decide whether to stay. Why women sense this instantly? Here is a truth many men hate hearing. Women don't lose respect for you because you are kind. They lose respect because you are unanchored. A woman feels safe with a man who knows who he is, even when she disagrees with him. But when you constantly shift, your tone changes depending on her mood. Your decisions depend on her reactions. Your confidence disappears the moment she pulls back. She doesn't feel loved. She feels like she's leading. And no woman truly respects a man she has to emotionally carry. Stoicism teaches mastery over the self, not control over others. The man who reacts emotionally, over-explains himself, or seeks reassurance is not practicing love, he is practicing insecurity. The over-explaining trap. One of the clearest signs a man has lost his frame is over-explaining. You explain your intentions. You justify your boundaries. You defend your decisions. You clarify things that didn't need clarification. Why? Because you want to be understood. But here is the harsh truth. A man who needs to be understood is already negotiating his authority. Strong men speak plainly. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't chase agreement. They let silence do the work. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Respect often grows in the space where explanation ends. Emotional leakage and masculine authority. Another way men lose respect is emotional leakage. This doesn't mean never feeling emotions. It means not letting emotions control your behavior. Men who vent excessively. Who complain constantly. Who dramatize small setbacks. Who broadcast every internal struggle. They don't look human and relatable. They look unstable. Stoicism doesn't suppress emotion, it disciplines expression. A man who handles pressure quietly, who chooses when and where to open up, commands respect because he demonstrates self-governance. The world respects men who can carry weight. The subtle shift no one talks about. Here is the most dangerous part. Respect doesn't disappear suddenly. It erodes slowly. First, people interrupt you more. Then they stop asking your opinion. Then they test your boundaries. Then they stop taking your words seriously. And by the time you notice, you are already reacting instead of leading. This is not bad luck. It is the result of losing your frame one compromise at a time. The Stoic correction. If you want to regain respect, you don't start by demanding it. You start here. Rebuild your standards. Speak less, mean more. Act from principle, not emotion. Accept the risk of being disliked. Detach from outcomes you cannot control. A man who is willing to lose approval is a man who gains authority. Respect follows men who are internally ordered. Have you ever realized that, in love, moments of silence are sometimes more powerful than 1,000 words? Because in silence, we can hear our heartbeat more clearly and feel the presence of the other person more deeply. Here, I want to explore with you that strength, peace, and stability even when love goes through challenges. If you feel that these shares bring you something positive, please click like to support. And if you haven't clicked subscribe, do it now, so you don't miss any insight into love and maturity. I also hope to hear your story. What is the most valuable lesson that love has taught you? Please share in the comments section so we can learn and be inspired together. Come on, let's move on to the next part with a more prepared mind. Part 2. The nice guy illusion, when giving without standards destroys respect. There is a lie many men grow up believing. A lie taught by movies, social conditioning, and fear disguised as virtue. The lie is this. If I give enough, if I am patient enough, if I am understanding enough, I will be respected and loved. This belief ruins men. Not because generosity is wrong. But because giving without standards is not generosity, it is self-erasure. And nothing kills respect faster than a man who erases himself. The difference between strength and approval seeking. A stoic man gives from abundance. A weak man gives to be accepted. On the surface, their behavior looks similar. Both are helpful. Both listen. Both sacrifice. But the intent is different, and intent is everything. The approval-seeking man gives while silently hoping. She will appreciate me. She won't leave me. She will finally choose me. This hidden expectation poisons the act. When giving becomes a transaction, respect dies. People can feel it. Why being nice backfires? Here is the uncomfortable truth. People don't respect men who are nice because they are afraid to be disliked. They respect men who are kind because they choose to be. That nice guy avoids conflict. He avoids tension. He avoids saying no. He believes harmony equals respect. But respect requires friction. A man who never challenges, never pushes back, never asserts boundaries becomes predictable, and predictability without backbone breeds contempt. Especially in romantic dynamics. A woman may appreciate his effort. She may feel safe around him. But deep respect? Attraction? Desire? No. Because respect is built on strength plus restraint, not submission. Overgiving is a silent form of begging. One of the most damaging mistakes men make is overgiving. Time. Attention. Resources. Emotional labor. They give more than is earned. And when giving is unearned, it communicates a dangerous message. I don't believe my presence alone has value. Think about that. A man who floods others with availability signals that his time is cheap. A man who always shows up, always texts back immediately, always prioritizes others above himself teaches people how to treat him. And people treat you exactly how you train them to. Stoicism teaches balance. Justice. Proportion. Giving must match character. The unspoken contract that breaks men. Many men enter relationships with an unspoken contract. I will be good to you, and you will reward me with loyalty, affection, and respect. But life doesn't work on unspoken contracts. When expectations are not met, the man becomes resentful. Passive-aggressive. Emotionally reactive. And that resentment leaks out. Sarcastic comments. Emotional withdrawal. Sudden outbursts. Self-pity disguised as morality. At this point, respect is already gone. Not because he was good. But because he was dishonest about his needs. A Stoic man does not manipulate through kindness. He states his standards clearly, and walks away when they are not met. Boundaries, the backbone of respect. Let me be clear. Boundaries are not ultimatums. They are not threats. They are not punishments. Boundaries are self-respect made visible. When a man lacks boundaries, people test him. People take more. People push further. Not out of cruelty, but because humans instinctively probe weakness. A man who says yes when he means no teaches the world to ignore his inner voice. And once you ignore yourself long enough, others will too. Stoicism teaches that your duty is first to your character, not to comfort. The illusion of moral superiority. Another trap of the nice guy is moral arrogance. He thinks, I treat people better than others. I would never do that. I deserve more because I'm different. This mindset creates bitterness. Because when reality doesn't reward him, he feels cheated. But Stoicism warns us against entitlement. You are not owed respect for being decent. You are respected for being grounded, consistent, and self-directed. Virtue is its own reward, not a bargaining chip. Why women lose respect quietly. When a man overgives, women don't usually confront him. They simply adjust. They stop trying as hard. They test limits. They emotionally disengage. Not because they are evil, but because the dynamic shifted. She feels like the prize. He feels like the applicant. An attraction does not survive imbalance. A man who gives endlessly without discernment is not seen as loving, he is seen as insecure. And insecurity is never respected. The Stoic correction. If you want to regain respect, do not become cold. Become selective. Give when it aligns with your values. Say no without guilt. Withdraw attention when standards are crossed. Stop rescuing people from consequences. Let others earn your investment. A Stoic man is generous, but never desperate. He understands that love without self-respect is self-betrayal. Part 3. Emotional reactivity, when a man lets his emotions lead. There is nothing wrong with emotion. But there is everything wrong with a man being ruled by it. One of the fastest ways a man loses respect, in relationships, in work, in life, is not anger, not sadness, not jealousy. It is emotional reactivity. The inability to pause. The inability to regulate. The inability to choose a response instead of obeying a feeling. A Stoic man understands this truth early or learns it painfully. Your emotions are signals, not commands. The difference between feeling and acting. Every man feels insecurity. Every man feels fear. Every man feels anger. The respected man feels it, and still chooses his behavior. The disrespected man feels it, and reacts. Reactivity shows up in many subtle ways. Immediate defensive replies. Over-texting after silence. Emotional outbursts during disagreement. Passive-aggressive behavior when disappointed. Sudden withdrawal to regain control. None of these look strong. They look unstable. And instability is incompatible with respect. Why reactivity signals weak leadership. Whether in a relationship or a group, leadership is emotional containment. People naturally follow those who stay calm under pressure. Think before speaking. Don't escalate conflict unnecessarily. Maintain composure when challenged. When a man reacts emotionally, he gives away authority. He tells the world, I am not in control of myself. And if you cannot control yourself, no one will trust you to lead anything, including a relationship. Stoicism is built on the idea that self-mastery precedes influence. Emotional outbursts and the loss of mystery. There is another cost to emotional reactivity most men never consider. It kills mystery. A man who immediately reveals every feeling, every fear, every insecurity leaves nothing to discover. This is not emotional honesty, it is emotional dumping. Depth is not created by exposure without restraint. Depth is created by measured disclosure. A Stoic man chooses when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to walk away. Silence, used correctly, is not avoidance. It is power. The texting trap, modern emotional reactivity. Nowhere is emotional reactivity more visible than in texting. Men. Double text when there's no reply. Ask, did I do something wrong? Seek reassurance through constant contact. Interpret silence as rejection. This behavior screams urgency. And urgency is the enemy of respect. A man who panics at silence reveals that his emotional center is outsourced to someone else. Stoicism teaches us to reclaim that center. Your peace must not depend on someone else's responsiveness. Anger is not strength. Many men confuse anger with power. They think, if I show anger, I assert dominance. In reality, uncontrolled anger shows lack of discipline. True strength is restraint. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Anger that controls you makes you predictable. Predictability makes you manipulable. A calm man is dangerous, because he is not easily provoked. And people respect what they cannot easily control. Emotional blackmail and guilt. Another form of reactivity is emotional manipulation. Men who sulk to get attention, withdraw affection to punish, use guilt to regain control. These behaviors are not masculine. They are covert attempts to force emotional outcomes. Stoicism rejects manipulation entirely. A Stoic man states his position once, clearly, and then allows reality to respond. He does not beg. He does not threaten. He does not perform emotional theater. Why women test emotional stability? Women, consciously or not, test emotional stability. They challenge opinions, create tension, pull back emotionally, say things that provoke reaction. Not to hurt, but to observe. They are asking, is this man solid? Or does he crack under pressure? A man who reacts emotionally fails the test. A man who remains grounded passes it without trying. And respect follows naturally. The Stoic pause. The Stoics believed in the pause. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space, you choose who you are. You choose your values. You choose your action. Most men never pause. They react. The Stoic man waits. He breathes. He observes. He responds deliberately. This alone separates respected men from forgotten ones. Training emotional discipline. Emotional discipline is not suppression. It is training. Delay responses when emotional. Journal instead of venting. Move your body before confronting. Speak after clarity, not heat. Accept discomfort without acting on it. Discomfort is not danger. A man who can sit with discomfort becomes unshakable. In love, sometimes silence is the answer. It gives us time to listen to ourselves and understand the other person's heart better. That's also the reason I share stories on this channel, so that you have a pause, a peaceful space to reflect. If you find this meaningful, please click like and don't forget to subscribe, so that we can continue to accompany each other on the journey to find a peaceful and profound love. Now, let's continue the rest with me. Part 4. Lack of direction. When a man drifts, respect fades. There is a quiet question people ask about every man they meet. They may never say it out loud. But they are always watching for the answer. Is this man going somewhere, or is he just existing? A man without direction doesn't offend anyone. He doesn't cause problems. He doesn't create conflict. But he also doesn't inspire respect. Because respect follows trajectory, not comfort. Direction is not about money. Many men misunderstand direction. They think, once I make more money, I'll be respected. Once I reach a certain status, things will change. But direction is not about income. It's about intentional movement. You can be broke and respected. You can be rich and ignored. People respect men who are self-directed, even when they are still building. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. Our effort. Our discipline. Our daily actions. A man who wakes up with purpose radiates gravity. Drifting is subtle and deadly. Most men don't wake up one day and decide to drift. It happens slowly. No clear goals. No long-term vision. No daily structure. No standards for time. Days blend together. Weeks disappear. Years pass. And the man becomes neutral. Neutral men are invisible. Not hated. Not admired. Just there. And invisibility is the opposite of respect. Why women disengage from drifting men. A woman may initially tolerate a man without direction. She tells herself, he's nice. He has potential. He'll figure it out. But over time, something changes. She begins to feel uncertainty. Then frustration. Then quiet detachment. Not because she wants luxury, but because she wants clarity. A man without direction cannot lead. A man who cannot lead cannot be relied upon. A man who cannot be relied upon will not be respected. Leadership does not require dominance. It requires decisiveness. The masculine need for a mission. Men are built for missions. When a man lacks one, he becomes emotionally needy. He obsesses over relationships. He seeks validation. He drifts into distraction. A man with a mission does not chase attention. He attracts it accidentally. Why? Because he is anchored. Stoicism teaches that a man's primary responsibility is to his character and his duty, not to comfort, not to pleasure. When you place a woman at the center of your life, you shrink. When you place a purpose at the center, everything else aligns around it. Purpose creates boundaries naturally. A man with direction doesn't need to enforce boundaries aggressively. His schedule does it for him. He protects his time. Chooses his commitments. Says no without explanation. Walks away from distractions. This creates respect effortlessly. People respect men whose lives have structure. Chaos repels respect. Order attracts it. The comfort trap. Drifting often hides behind comfort. Comfort routines. Comfort habits. Comfort relationships. But comfort is addictive. And addiction erodes respect, first internally, then externally. A man who avoids discomfort avoids growth. Stoicism teaches us to lean into voluntary hardship. Discipline. Training. Delayed gratification. Men who embrace difficulty develop presence. Presence commands respect. Being busy is not the same as having direction. Another trap. False productivity. Men stay busy to avoid facing the truth. They are moving, but not toward anything meaningful. Busyness without intention is another form of drifting. Direction requires choice. What matters? What doesn't? What you are willing to sacrifice. A man who cannot sacrifice cannot be taken seriously. Why respect returns when direction appears? Here's the shift no one tells you about. When a man finds direction, people respond differently, without explanation. They listen more. They interrupt less. They take his words seriously. Not because he demands it, but because his actions signal self-trust. And people trust men who trust themselves. The Stoic correction. If you feel respect fading, don't ask for it. Build direction. Choose a mission worth suffering for. Create daily structure. Eliminate distractions. Accept slow progress. Commit without external validation. A Stoic man doesn't need applause. He moves forward regardless. Part 5. Tolerating disrespect. When a man betrays himself, there is one mistake that outweighs all others. Not because it is loud. Not because it is dramatic. But because it is the final signal that tells the world. This man does not respect himself. And once that signal is sent, no speech, no explanation, no apology can undo it. The mistake is tolerating disrespect. Disrespect always starts small. Disrespect rarely arrives as an insult. It begins quietly. Jokes at your expense. Dismissive tones. Broken promises. Boundary testing. Subtle contempt. At first, you rationalize it. She didn't mean it. He was just joking. It's not worth making a big deal. And that is exactly how it grows. Disrespect feeds on silence. Why men stay silent? Men tolerate disrespect for predictable reasons. Fear of conflict. Fear of loss. Desire to appear easygoing. Hope that behavior will change. But beneath all of these is one truth. They value approval more than self-respect. Stoicism warns us. Anything you fear losing controls you. A man who fears losing someone will accept treatment he should walk away from. And the moment you tolerate what violates your standards, you announce that your standards are negotiable. Disrespect is a test. Whether intentional or unconscious, disrespect is always a test. The question being asked is simple. Will this man defend his boundaries, or will he trade them for comfort? A man who responds with clarity passes the test. A man who rationalizes, jokes it off, or stays silent fails it. And failed tests are remembered. People may not say it, but they adjust how they treat you afterward. The cost of keeping the peace. Many men believe enduring disrespect is maturity. It is not. It is avoidance. Keeping the peace at the cost of your dignity is not noble, it is self-betrayal. And self-betrayal destroys internal authority. Once you lose internal authority, external respect disappears automatically. Stoicism teaches us that peace is not the absence of conflict, it is alignment with your values. Respect is enforced by action, not words. Here is the hardest lesson for most men. You cannot talk your way into respect. You enforce respect through behavior. That may mean addressing the behavior once, calmly. Setting a clear boundary. Withdrawing attention or access. Walking away without drama. No speeches. No lectures. No emotional explanations. A Stoic man does not threaten. He chooses. And choice is power. Why walking away changes everything. Walking away is not weakness. It is the ultimate boundary. It communicates. I know my worth, and I am willing to lose you to protect it. This recalibrates dynamics instantly. Sometimes, respect returns. Sometimes, the person leaves. Both outcomes are wins. Because the man who walks away intact keeps the one thing that matters most, his self-respect. Men who tolerate disrespect become bitter. There is a psychological cost to tolerating disrespect. It turns men into passive-aggressive communicators, emotionally withdrawn partners, angry, resentful people, silent complainers. Not because they are bad men, but because they betrayed themselves repeatedly. Stoicism teaches accountability. If you allow something, you are participating in it. The line you must never cross. Every man must define a line. Not for others, but for himself. A line that says, beyond this, I leave. No drama. No revenge. No closure speeches. Just action. Men with lines are respected. Men without lines are managed. Respect begins internally, always. People treat you how you treat yourself. If you tolerate disrespect internally, self-doubt, self-neglect, self-betrayal, the external world mirrors it. Stoicism starts inside. Control what you allow. Control what you engage with. Control what you walk away from. This is sovereignty. Final thought of the series. Respect is not something you ask for. It is something you become aligned with. You lose it when you abandon your frame. You give without standards. You let emotions lead. You drift without direction. You tolerate what violates you. And you regain it the moment you stop betraying yourself. A man who respects himself never needs to demand respect. The world feels it. Conclusion. Respect is not demanded, it is lived. Respect is not lost in one dramatic moment. It disappears quietly. When a man compromises his values. When he gives without standards. When he lets emotion replace discipline. When he drifts without purpose. And when he tolerates what he knows he should never accept. No one takes respect from you. You give it away, piece by piece. The Stoics understood something modern men often forget. A man's greatest responsibility is not to be liked, but to be aligned. Aligned with his principles. Aligned with his boundaries. Aligned with the life he is building. When alignment is lost, respect fades naturally. Not as punishment, but as consequence. You cannot negotiate respect. You cannot perform your way into it. You cannot beg, explain, or apologize yourself back into it. Respect returns only when a man returns to himself. When he stops chasing approval. When he chooses restraint over reaction. When he places purpose above comfort. When he is willing to walk away rather than betray his standards. This is not arrogance. This is self-governance. A Stoic man does not raise his voice to be heard. He does not compete for validation. He does not fear loss more than dishonor. He understands that losing people is temporary. But losing himself is permanent. And paradoxically, when a man no longer needs respect. When he no longer seeks it. When he simply lives in quiet alignment with who he is. Respect finds him. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But unmistakably. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm so happy to share my lessons about love and relationships with you. I hope you learned something new and can apply it to your life. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for always accompanying and supporting me. Wish you a good day and don't forget to love yourself a lot.